to Vernadeau. Good evening. Welcome to Rich Vernadeau's Daily Talk. This is the 5/11/19 edition, and our guest tonight is a return guest, an animal intuitive from the Seattle, Washington area, and DARCY PARISO. DARCY, are you here?
I certainly am. Hi, Rich. It's nice to be here.
Fantastic. Glad to have you back. Are things exciting for you, or is everything going well?
Yeah, they are. Things are going very well. I love working with animals. It's really my life passion. So, yes, thanks for asking, and I'm happy to be here. I've got lots of animal stories to share with you.
Well, I know we're excited to hear them, and I'd like to ask you first off, DARCY PARISO, what's the most difficult aspect of being an animal intuitive?
The most difficult is when I see animals that have been hurt by humans, whether they've been abandoned, dumped in a shelter without any explanation, or physically harmed. And I see the hurt and the shutdown, and they feel broken and betrayed, and it breaks your heart. But I can tell you that in most cases, we can turn that around, or at least improve it drastically.
So part of being an animal intuitive. Absolutely. Go ahead and share some with us, DARCY.
Okay, well, one day a friend asked me to go to a shelter with her, and so, of course, I did. And as we're walking past all the dogs in the different enclosures, I was telling each dog that, they were beautiful and they were handsome and that they could choose their family, that they didn't need to wait to be chosen. I was trying to empower them and show them possibilities. And then I heard this loud, just wailing. It just rang throughout the entire shelter, just like echoing off the walls. It was really, really incredibly loud and painful. And my friend called me over. She said, come on, you've got to help this dog. So I go around the corner, and there's this very, very tall white dog, like the size of an Afghan hound. It was a mixture, and I forget offhand now what I thought it was. But I tried to connect with him, and I couldn't. He was just like howling and wailing, and he was so shut down, he didn't even know I was there. So I saw an image. I saw a man and a woman arguing. I knew that it was about a divorce. The man stormed out of the house, slammed the door, and the woman was so outraged, she grabbed the dog, put him in the car, and dumped him at the shelter. And this dog was, in this enclosure, just like, what just happened? He was upside down. He was devastated, and he cried and cried and cried. And when we left, he was still crying. It was so heartbreaking, so sad. And I know that man could not take the dog with him where he moved out. And I know that it was, something done out of anger and revenge. And he just lost his animal that day. And all I could do was, when I got home, I sent, love and Reiki and healing energy and hope that would help. I don't know whatever happened there, but it was just really, really sad. And then another example, something that happened here locally in Seattle, because I live in the Seattle area. This was, I think, about maybe 3 years ago. We had 2 elephants that were here at the Woodland Park Zoo, and they were scheduled at one point to go to a sanctuary in California. One of them had a pretty traumatic life in Bangkok, and then was back here in Seattle. But at the end of the day, they ended up going to a zoo in Oklahoma. And just about a year after they arrived, the younger elephant, Chai, was found dead. And she was only 37 years old. The life expectancy of this type of elephant is 47 years. And so I saw something on YouTube, I believe. And this elephant, Chai, had talked to an animal communicator, Danielle McKinnon, and Danielle was asking her how she was doing and what she thought and how she felt and so forth. And Chai said that when her baby died at 6 years old, which was very rare and very young, that she was so happy that her baby, Hansa, died before her because she couldn't bear to leave her, to cross over herself and leave the baby behind. And then Chai was walking. She'd walk up to the end of the enclosure and then back to the other side. And every time she went back and forth, she said, "There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go," over and over. And Danielle was just in tears, and I watched it, and I was in tears. And there's nothing that we could do. And those are so incredibly sad for me. So if you want another, I can talk to you about a bird.
Absolutely, Darcy.
Okay.
Keep them coming.
Okay, well, this is kind of a, I don't know if it was difficult, but things changed. Things got better. And that's the beauty of animal communication. So many times there are things that can be heartbreaking, but we can at least improve them. And we can maybe do some healing energy. And conversations can change so much. A lot of things that go awry are because of lack of communication. So this was a lady that had called me, and she had a large parrot. And she said that the parrot was attacking her. She couldn't get near him. She couldn't feed him. It was just really difficult situation. In fact, someone else had to feed the bird. And so when I was on the phone with her, because I do most of my animal communication sessions over the phone, sometimes Skype and sometimes in person. I'm connecting with the bird, and I see what's going on. And in the conversation, I saw a man come in, and the man was talking to the bird, comforting him. And this is a man that had crossed over. And I saw an image of this man sitting on the armchair, or sitting in this chair, and the bird sitting on the arm of the chair. And every night they would eat dinner together, and they watch TV, and this was a ritual. And so this, day after day, and this bird, this parrot, just adored this man, and vice versa. The man adored him too. And it was really cool to see their relationship. It was really fun. And then one day the man didn't come home, and I learned later that that particular day he went to work and he had a heart attack on the way home. And so the bird never saw the man, never knew what happened. And so he was calling out to him. So during the session, the bird starts calling, Papa, 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 Papa. And that's when I saw the man. And I told her, I said, I'm seeing a man outside this cage, and this is what he looks like, blah, blah, blah. And I heard clunk, 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 clunk. And she dropped the phone, and she said, that's my husband. And he died, and he's been like this ever since, and he's inconsolable. So it was really, really sad. And what I could do is say to the woman and say to the bird what the man wanted to convey, the messages, and how sorry he was, and that he would never leave him, and that he couldn't come home because he wasn't there, but he was still visiting him, and he, loved him very much, and he told him how much he meant to him. And those things all helped, they helped, but he was better. So it was helpful to have some sort of closure and understanding. And I know animals are so intuitive, and they're aware of energy, and they're aware of, the other side and here physically. And I'm sure that this bird understood in some area, but he just was lost in his grief. So that was kind of a bittersweet, but it had some, kind of a silver lining. And I did run into the woman at least once after that, and she said that he was better, but still kind of biting, but he was better. And he almost lost his home because of this, so at least they were living together, and he was able to keep his home. Yeah, there are lots of stories.
Darcy, before you begin another story, I'd like to ask you a question. Based on all of your vast experience with working with so many different animals, what would you like people to know about animals? What would you like to communicate to people about animals?
I would like everybody in the whole world to know that animals are sentient beings, and they feel energy, and they're very sensitive. So they know if you're feeling down that day or if you're excited, and they want to know why, what's going on? Does it include me? So they know all your emotions. So then they start scanning you, and they look to your mind, your TV screen, what's going on, and look at their mind. Oh, they're excited. looks like after work we're going to go for a walk and we've got something planned and I'm included, woohoo. Or they're sad and they've been sad for a while, how can I help them? And they'll try to, maybe the cat will come and purr next to you and to help heal you. But communicating with them is everything. So you can deepen your relationship and improve your relationship by talking to them. And if you're struggling or you're sad and you're going through something, explain why. And they will understand, because as you're talking, the images will be in your mind to match your words. And sometimes it's not always true, because some people will say, no barking or stop barking, and they're showing the image of the dog barking, so they're actually reinforcing it. So just make sure the image matches. And they'll tell you, you probably have heard this when, say you're going on a vacation or you're going to be gone overnight, or you're going to the hospital or you're stressed about something. And so tell them that tonight after work, I'm going to be packing, you've seen me packing my suitcase, and show them the image of you getting in your car, driving to the airport, and who's going to be staying with them. Are they going to someone's home? Is somebody coming to your home? Who will care for them? And how many nights you're going to be gone? It might be, 5 nights or 3 nights. And you can show them, night and day, and tell them that you will be in touch, that you'll check in. Because energy is energy, and you can be across the world or you can be in the next town and say that, I'm visiting a friend, I'm having a nice time, and I'm thinking about you, I love you, I'll see you in 2 more nights. And then you can start showing them that you're going to get on an airplane, and then you'll be landing in your city, getting in your car, and, telling them you're home. You'll be home before you know it. I'll send you a message on my way home. And the more that you do this, the deeper your relationship is. And it relieves so much stress. There's so many animals that don't understand what's happening, and they're getting mixed messages, or they aren't really acknowledged very much. And so it changes everything. So our words matter. Our words can heal, and our words can hurt. So it's just really, really important. So that's one of my main messages that I want to tell people. And there's no barriers to our thoughts, so you can't hide anything. If you're upset, don't try to hide it, because you can't. And if you're feeling anything at all that maybe that isn't the happiest of emotion, you might see your cat coming over to you or your dog coming over, and they will try to help you. They'll try to lift you up. Not only that, but they will also take on whatever that is, that sadness or that anger. And if you see that your animal, we'll just say a dog or a cat, is sleeping a lot and they're not doing so well, you can be pretty sure that maybe they've taken on your thyroid problem or your whatever medical problem. They'll do that. And cats are pretty good about running it through their body and kind of kicking it out, but dogs not so much so. So that's why you probably see more dogs that have cancer or have whatever. That reminds me of a story where there was a family in the veterinarian's office, and the vet was telling them that their dog had a heart condition, and here's the medication and how you dose him and blah, blah, blah. And the family all laughed and said, oh, we know all about that. We're all on the same heart medication. And the thing about that story is the brother had owned the dog, and they ran every day, and they ran like miles and miles. And the dog was really, really healthy. But when the brother had to move away, he asked, his family to take his dog. And the dog was healthy until he lived with that family, and he took on their illness. So they do these things, and that's how much they love us. Talk to them and share
DARCY, what is
really important.
DARCY, what are some of the projects that you're currently involved with animals and in the Seattle area?
Well, right now I teach animal communication classes, and sometimes I'm working with another gal, Stacy Lewis. She's at Centaur Development Wellness Ranch in Snohomish, Washington, and she's got some really amazing horses. And so we do that from time to time. And I'm going to start going online on Zoom in the next couple of months, so people can be at home and we can, talk over Zoom and go into different rooms and do practice exercises. And people have been asking for that. It's just, with busy lives and work lives, it's more convenient. And the other thing, Rich, is that I have a radio show, Animal Soul Wisdom, and I've added a second show this year. So last year I was on the second Thursday of the month on Transformation Talk Radio and KKNW here in Seattle. So it was the second Thursday.
Oh, yes. You have a colleague, Wendy Rose Williams, who's also done that show.
I'm sorry, if you did?
Wendy Rose Williams, I believe, has also done that show for a while in the past.
Yeah, yes, she did. And then this year I added the fourth Thursday. So that's 2 Pacific and would be 4 Central your time. So now I have 2 radio shows, and I would like to have more, a variety of guests that have different experiences and different things to share with animals. This past Thursday, I had Kathleen Prasad on, and she's a business called Animal Reiki Stores in California, and she travels East Coast, West Coast, in between, and to England, and she goes to sanctuaries, and she's worked in shelters, and she's created Reiki format or Reiki procedures and so forth, people to go into different places to heal animals. And so that was really cool. One of the things that I learned was when you go to this particular sanctuary that has black leopards or crocodiles, tigers, goats, sheep. She said when you connect with an animal that hasn't been impacted by people, like this crocodile, people would sit outside the fence where the crocodile is and just become Reiki. It's kind of a Reiki meditation. And then the crocodile could choose to take, to engage and take something if he wanted to or not. It's something not being offered but not sent, not saying you have a problem or something wrong with you. It's just like, here it is, if you want it. And Kathleen shared that most of the time the person that is offering this to the animal has some deep healing that most often goes to childhood, and that these animals are very ancient and they're not impacted by people.